A very good morning to you. Watching the Channel 9 Breakfast Show on Friday, the 6th of February. I'm Nikki Dean.
And I'm Byron Evans.
And these are Mario and Lisa.
They are indeed.
They're back again. Oh, round of applause. See what you provoked there.
Stars of Big Brother 9. There are going to be auditions for Big Brother 10 taking place here in the city tomorrow. So we wanted to find out some tips. But before we do, we thought it was a quick note to mention the charity work that you've been doing.
Yes, Guide Dogs for the Blind, I know, is your big charity, as well as Talk Don't Walk Kids Charity. Just wanted to give them a quick mention.
Basically, the racehorse, when it wins, our syndicate winnings, because we're the celebrity owners, will go to those two charities, and we're trying to raise enough funds to actually get a guide dog. And also, this time next year, myself, Lisa and Mikey Hughes from Big Brother, we're hoping to trek across Norway by huskies, but we're raising about £10,000 in that process. So that's for next year.
OK, well, let's get down to the meat and potatoes, the nitty-gritty of Big Brother 10. What do auditionees have to do to impress the judges? Because they surely must have seen every wild and wacky audition ever.
The first bit is to make an impact straight away. First 10 seconds, just go for it. Don't freeze and hold back. You're not going to get a second chance, so you've got to go for it. And then once, you know, you've made that impression, it's be passionate about, you know, stories and a little bit different and come up with something.
Preparation, very important.
Yeah, you've got a plan. You've got to stand out from the crowd. Don't copy anyone previously. And the best thing that we've done is we've made a YouTube video courtesy of Big Brother. So if you log on to Channel 4's website, you can look at our tips and do's and don'ts and on previous housemates, and it gives you a real good understanding and grounding. And Davina's on there as well.
And I know you wore a see-through dress, Mario, didn't you?
I did, yes, with stilettos and my makeup.
Oh, sorry, the other way around.
You had the tuxedo on.
We was quite outrageous, weren't we?
You had the tuxedo.
Joke, Mario.
Well, actually, we did do that. He said, "Who's Mario and who's Lisa?" And I went, "I'm Lisa."
Of course, you guys are going to be there, aren't you, tomorrow?
Yeah, they're helping out, going round, speaking to people, tips and etc.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Mario and Lisa, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Breakfast Show. Thank you very much for coming. Wonderful to meet you. In a few minutes, all the latest sports news with Mike Bradley. But first, let's get today's news with James Webster.
Good morning. Here are Friday's main headlines. A heartbroken dad from Oldham spoken of the moment his 12-year-old son died in his arms shortly after opening his birthday present. Martin Glazier McRae had a massive asthma attack, which then brought on heart failure. Duncan McRae held him till paramedics arrived, but they couldn't revive him. It's the second tragedy to strike the family after Martin's mum died when he was only 3 years old.
I'd like him to be remembered as a young man, you know, just loved life. You know, a nice cheerful little boy, just like everybody else, cheeky, mischievous, you know.
Relatives and friends are expected at the funeral of a Royal Marine from Stockport later. Corporal Danny Winter, who was 28 and from Marple, was killed while on operations in Afghanistan. Investigations are still going on to work out if he was killed by so-called friendly fire. Other service personnel are also welcome to attend the service. Armed robbers have used a sledgehammer to smash their way into a till at a bank in Stockport. A gang of 3 went into the Halifax on Chapel Street in Cheadle last Friday morning, barged past the cashier and demanded money. They then smashed up one till and removed another, stealing a large amount of cash before leaving and being driven off in a silver grey Mini. Nobody was injured, but the staff were left incredibly shaken. Court's been told how a man ended his 6-year marriage to his wife by dumping her on Facebook. Emma Brady from Accrington says she only heard that her husband was divorcing her when a message popped up saying Neil Brady has ended his marriage to Emma Brady. The details came out as he was sentenced for assaulting her. Health experts say last year's rise in the number of cases of measles is very worrying. There was a 36% increase, which is being partly blamed on a decrease in the number of children having the MMR jab. Figures just out show there were more than 1,300 cases reported. There's been a generous response here in Greater Manchester to an appeal for help for the people of Gaza. The MP, George Galloway, has asked for items to be sent there, and as Ben Bland reports, even with the recession biting, people have dug deep.
Emotive images of people affected by the conflict in Gaza, which have stirred the hearts of people in Greater Manchester. After an appeal for items to send out to the region, the basement of Saffron Restaurant in Cheetham Hill is piled high with donations. And volunteers, overwhelmed by the generosity, have spent hours sorting through and packing the items into boxes.
We've had so many things, it's just unbelievable. It's been a really, really good response. We've had brand new things, we've had tents, we've had blankets, we've had sleeping bags, toys, clothes, everything.
I'm surprised, but I expected it as well because I myself was shocked at the images and tried to do as much as I can, and I expect everyone to, when situations like this arise, to get together and help as much as they can. That's part of the community spirit and everything.
They've had donations of clothing, toys, toiletries, shoes, and they tell me they're now aiming to get all this sorted, packed up and shipped out to those who need it by the end of next week. The aid convoy will set off from Trafford Park and make its way over to France. It will then travel through France and Spain, crossing over to Morocco before carrying on through Libya and Egypt and then into Gaza, completing a journey of some 2,500 miles. The donations of items and people giving up their own time to help shows that even when times are hard, the generosity of people in Greater Manchester still shines through. Ben Bland, Channel M News.
Finally, for now, Joe Calzaghe's retiring from boxing. The undefeated world super middleweight and light heavyweight champions won all 46 of his fights and has been a world champion for more than 11 years. He says it's been a difficult decision, but he's not got anything left in boxing he wants to achieve. That's all from me for this morning. I'll be back with the Channel M lunchtime news at 12 noon, and we'll have a full roundup of all the day's main headlines from across Greater Manchester with Andy Crane from 5 tonight. Now let's get the sport from Byron and Mike.
Well, with a name like Antonio Valencia, a move from Wigan to Spain seems inevitable, does it not, Mike Bradley?
It does, and a couple of weeks ago when we first mentioned Real Madrid were coming in and moved for him, everybody burst out laughing. He has been linked with Real Madrid. Steve Bruce has come out this morning and said it's inevitable his midfielder is going to leave. And Steve Bruce thinks he'll end up at Old Trafford during the summer.
Really?
And speaking of Old Trafford, Real Madrid have said they're willing to match and top United's offer to Carlos Tevez of £75,000 a week, so that's one worth keeping an eye on. We also believe Mark Hughes is keeping an eye on the situation, so he could still end up a blue. And over at Barcelona, we believe the club are going to listen to offers for Thierry Henry, around about £12 million, because they want to fund a move for Bayern Munich's defender Frank Ribery. He's valued at £25 million. Now, the irony there is that Thierry Henry has been linked with the move to Manchester City, as has Frank Ribery, so they could miss out on both those people. It could be a great summer transfer.
Every sporting Galactico, footballing superstar across the planet.
Well, they were linked during the January transfer window, weren't they? But we did say before it opened that no big names were going to move because they're still all involved in the Champions League. But the summer transfer window, who knows, there could be a new man at the helm at the City Manchester Stadium by then. We do expect a lot of business to be done. Thierry Henry, I would say 55% certain to arrive. Frank Ribery, he would be a great acquisition. Now they've got Shay Given, let's build from the back, let's make them strong at the back. That would be tremendous. Probably a 40% chance of that going through. But you can't keep City out of the news, can you?
You cannot. So from world-class footballers to a world champion who's calling it a day.
Absolutely. Well, world champion on paper.
He is. Non-stop.
42 fights, undefeated, 32 by way of knockout. You can't argue with that. I'll always remember him for being put on his Welsh backside by the unheralded Byron Mitchell and for running to the hills, having avoided Carl Froch for all his career. What a sad end to a career, and what a potentially sad end to the glittering career of Michael Phelps. 8 gold medals, allegedly caught smoking cannabis, has been suspended by the US Swimming Agency for 3 months this morning and had his funding withdrawn as well.
OK, well, let's look at some other fixtures happening this weekend. But perhaps most importantly, Manchester Magic. They don't get enough airtime.
They don't get enough airtime. We've got highlights of their game coming up on Monday. They're actually involved in the National Trophy semi-final this week. They're playing London Leopards, the only team to beat them in the league this season. There, just confirmation. National Trophy semi-final, Amici Centre, tip-off at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon down in Whalley Range. If you're going to get there, arrive at 4 o'clock because it will sell out. And if you can't get there, tune in on Monday because we'll have highlights.
OK, how are our English Lions doing in the Windies?
The English Lions, well, I think they're more like Cubs at the moment. They're not doing too well. It's day 3 of the 5-day test at Sabina Park in Jamaica. England's first innings, 3-1-8, all-out. West Indies limped along to 160-1. Freddie Flintoff taking the early wicket of Smith yesterday. England will resume bowling. They're going to toil in the sun all day. I think this one's already slipping away from us, I'm afraid. But it's the first test. We can still come back from this, can't we? Can't we?
Yeah, fingers crossed. OK, well, you did mention a little bit earlier, you can't keep City out of the news, so let's carry that on, shall we?
Let's end with Manchester City. Shay Given signed from Newcastle. We've been trailing it for the past 2 weeks. Will he, won't he sign? He actually did put pen to paper. Yesterday, he was unveiled before the waiting press and told us why he decided to leave Newcastle.
Nearly 12 years of my life, you know, so it's a long time, and you know, I would like to thank the supporters and the fans for the support they've given me over them years. They've been absolutely phenomenal. But now it's a time for me, a new challenge, a new set of supporters to try and impress, and you know, I'm looking forward to that. I just felt after being there nearly 12 years and the service I gave the club that you know, the regime could have looked after the whole thing a little bit better, and you know, they made me do things that I didn't want to do in the end. But you know, I felt that this was a great opportunity for me to you know, further my career and possibly go on and hopefully pick up some silverware. And you know, I felt they could have dealt with it a lot better, and I was disappointed the way the regime handled the things, you know.
Well, that's all from the undefeated Mike Bradley for this week. Of course, he'll be back in the ring again on Monday. Now, though, ideas to get out and about around Manchester with our Michelle.
No, I haven't stepped back in time. I'm actually here at Staircase House in Stockport. It's a great place to journey from 1460 all the way up to World War II and experience every century in between. Open 7 days a week, you can learn how people used to live and how society and attitudes have changed over time. Staying with time travel, why not get yourself down to the Imperial War Museum this weekend? A new exhibition opens, Witness Women War Artists, and it focuses on artists from World War I up to today's Kosovo conflict. Now, it's the first exhibition of its kind in 50 years in the UK, and it runs until the 19th of April. Now, if you're wondering how to get around Stockport and visit its many attractions, all you have to do is catch the free shuttle bus. It runs from Stop 300 at Stockport Bus Station and visits Mersey Shopping Centre, the Peel Centre, the Underbanks, Stockport Market and many more of the town's hotspots. The service runs every 12 minutes from 8 in the morning till 6:30 Monday to Saturday and from 10:30 till 5:30 on Sundays. Talking of buses, then the Bury Busy Bee bus lands on Bury Market on February the 6th and February the 13th. It operates and specialises in group travel exclusively for Bury residents. And if you want to find out more, the bus will be at the Golden Mile on Market Square, Bury Market, from 9 until 4. So what are you waiting for? Get out! Get out!